Insert patriarchy here. Here's another retard who's going to teach us all about his flawed logic. Yes, I'm very familiar with the social justice propagated fallacy of victim blaming. Oh my god, you're such a fucking idiot.
What an obtuse way to say absolutely nothing of relevance.
Though, that being said, there are plenty of male feminists that would happily let you do whatever you want just for a chance to stand sniffing distance away from you. Kevin Logan, for example. I imagine the only pussy he's ever been in sniffing distance of is the kind that sits on your lap and purrs.
Say what? Oh, fucking hell, cat. Hello there, and welcome, one and all, to episode 31 of the Descent of Man-osphere. The series where I take you through the ways in which the Man-osphere and its utterly reprehensible douchebag inhabitants are trying to reverse human evolution and drag us all back into the fucking sea. And today, we're dealing with a really boring prick. Yes, it's the Satiratician! Or the Satiratician, or however the fuck you pronounce it. Frankly, I really don't give a fuck. And the Satiratician is basically a carbon copy of every other anti-feminist on YouTube. Basically, his USP is not having a USP, because he just makes the same points, often in response to the same fucking videos and the same people, and it's just boilerplate shit. He's basically like Bearing, but even less funny, if you can even imagine such a thing. He's just your typical anti-feminist coward who hides behind a fucking avatar and a false name. Although at least I will give him 1 point for originality in that he isn't hiding behind an animal avatar. He's chosen to go with a plague doctor dressed in a suit thing, which is equally shit, but at least is sort of original. And that's basically the only positive thing I have to say about him. Because for me, he sums up why I so loathe the nonsense of people saying shit like, I'm not a feminist, I'm an egalitarian. Although they say that in, like, you know, actual human voice rather than that weird voice that came out there. But they'll call themselves egalitarians, and I want to draw a distinction here between an egalitarian and an egalitarian. Being an internet egalitarian, an egalitarian. See what I did there? I'm fucking brilliant, aren't I? Anyway, an egalitarian is someone who actually stands for equality and, you know, holds positions which are, you know, in line with that sort of general mentality. So I'd be more than happy to call myself an egalitarian. Whereas the egalitarians, who are people who are by and large on the internet, who want to feel good about themselves and want all the social kudos of pretending to be for equality and pretending to stand up for those righteous things, but doesn't actually want to have to do anything about it, because essentially what they are is fighting for the status quo, or indeed in some cases to go backwards to a time with even more inequality. You know, like a regressive, but an actual regressive, not one of these concocted right-wing pieces of shit nonsense meanings. Anyway, so yeah, the egalitarian is basically someone who pretends to be an egalitarian without actually, you know, standing for anything. They're basically your common or garden sexist pricks, but without the common decency or honesty to just admit that that's what they are.
How do you define casual or normalized sexism?
It's a tricky question. How do you define a concept that's been so blown out of proportion by only a few privileged bitches? This shit does not fly with me. I will not allow some snot-nosed little bitch
Provide some real facts and figures and we'll talk. There's a good girl. I'm starting to think that she might be dumber than she looks, and she looks pretty dumb.
Obviously, this tart won't advocate for that because she might need to get up off her pampered ass for a minute and actually do something.
See, to me, it sounds like you're exploiting domestic abuse victims to push your own agenda. If I had a rolled up newspaper right now, I'd bop you on the nose with it for being a bad Lacey.
How they're destroying beauty standards by looking like complete dumpster fires.
Alright, bitch, you listen here and you listen good. It might be hard for my voice to get past your nose, which is frankly bigger than my beak, but you listen the fuck up.
I highly doubt you've ever been catcalled. That is not the face of somebody who gets catcalled.
That's because it's exactly what feminism has devolved into, sweet cheeks.
Well, I'm glad they're not my friends. What bitches.
Can't you just feel the respect he has for women? Yes, he's such an egalitarian, as opposed to an actual egalitarian. And trust me, that is a distinction that will come up later on, so remember the point, okay? And allied to his lack of actual egalitarianism is the fact that he constantly has a go at other people for the way they look. Now, before anyone calls bullshit, yes, I do that too. But I do that to people who deserve it because they have started the fucking process themselves. They're the ones that initially go after someone for the way they look, so they make themselves fair game as far as I'm concerned. Which I know makes me fair game under my own rules, and that's fine. People can have a go at me for the way I look. I couldn't give two fucks. But I'm not just going to go after someone randomly just because I disagree with them and attack them for the way they look. I will only do so if they have body shamed themselves. So people like Roosh V, or Dave Serini, or Jordan Owen, or the Satiratician, or Warcorp 666, whoever basically, right? If they've done body shaming, I'll body shame them. Fuck them, they're fair game. And this dude body shames all the fucking time about basically everyone he disagrees with.
You're not attractive by any stretch of the imagination. You've got a 2-foot gap between your front teeth, and you're one hamburger away from a major coronary.
I'm a feminist, but not because it's trendy.
Yeah, we can tell. You've got all the trend of someone dying of syphilis.
Flagging a video simply because they had your ugly mug in a thumbnail.
I personally like how they're destroying beauty standards by looking like complete dumpster fires. You know when you stare into the back of a spoon and your reflection is kind of distorted and round? Well, let's do a video on someone with that natural spoon look. Oh, and your eyebrows are way too short for your face. It looks ridiculous.
And what makes it so much worse is that, as I previously stated, he's a coward hiding behind a fucking avatar. At least these people had the fucking balls to stand up there, put their face out there, and fucking speak their mind. Not hide behind a fucking avatar like you. And you sit there behind your fucking avatar, having a go at the way other people look. You fucking utterly ballless piece of shit. I bet you look like fucking Quasimodo, don't you? I bet you look like someone's drawn a frowny face on a scrotum. Like a fucking half-inflated balloon covered in vomit. Fuck off out of it. But anyway, let's move on, because now it's time for... Yes, it's the inevitable bit about rape. Oh, for fuck's sake, do we have to carry on doing this bit? Fucking hell. Yes, we do have to carry on doing this bit, jaded Kev, because we're dealing with pricks from the manosphere, and they constantly have horrific things to say about rape. So yes, we do have to carry on doing it. Alright, Ian, I was just fucking asking a question. Well, don't ask stupid questions, prick!
I'd like to discuss with you the phenomenon that we call blaming the victim.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the social justice propagated fallacy of victim blaming.
The social justice propagated fallacy of victim blaming. What in the name of fuckety fuck is that? Seriously, what are you talking about? The only way that I can think that you've come to the conclusion that the accusation of victim blaming is fallacious is if you think that victim blaming doesn't happen. And that's obviously not fucking true. As you can tell from this very, very quickly assembled selection of tweets from a very, very quick Google search that I did about victim blaming. And all of that was put together in about 5 fucking minutes, that little compilation, just from a very quick Google search of just shit from Twitter. And it was the fucking, like, the first page or two of images, okay? That's just from Twitter, just from that very quick Google search of shit just from Twitter. Let alone the fact that you've got major politicians saying fucking horrific victim blaming shit, and people in the media saying it, and pricks like you on the internet fucking saying it. So yes, victim blaming very much happens. So in what possible fucking world is it fallacious to accuse someone of victim blaming if they've actually done victim blaming, which we've just seen many examples of people fucking doing? You fucking dishonest little sphincter. Yes, it's the almost inevitable bit about Lacey Green. Yippee! And for this section I'm very much spoilt for choice because he's made several videos about Lacey Green, and they're all incredibly rude and sexist response videos. He's done 2 videos that she has initially put out. And of course that sexism is basically obligatory on a channel like his because, you know, as previously discussed, he's such an egalitarian! And now I'm going to take you through a little bit of a response video he made to Lacey Green talking about the prickly issue of school uniforms and how that begins the process, certainly formally the process, of controlling young women and how that interacts with sexuality and teaching young people consent and all that sort of stuff. So obviously quite a delicate topic. And the Satiratician deals with this topic with the usual level of cack-handed dipshittery that one would expect from one of these Man-ospherean shitgibbons. So let's take a look, shall we?
Oh, hi, babe.
Don't call me babe again.
Oh my god, that's such a lame thing to do in a video, right? She's clearly not referring to you, dickhead.
We are coming up on that time of the year again. Dress codes have been a point of controversy.
Dress codes are a point of controversy. You mean like how women are demanding to be treated no differently than men, but then wanting different rules from men to determine what's a suitable uniform? Yeah, I can see how that's controversial. Good eye, Lacey. Feminists really are hypocrites.
What the fuck are you even talking about now? Seriously, what is that? You fucking moron.
At Staten Island High School, administrators gave nearly 200 female students detention for wearing shorts in the sweltering heat of summer. Distracting, they said.
You know what's even more distracting to those male students? Sitting in a classroom, listening to 200-year-old Professor Grave Dodger prattle on about algebra problems, all the while swimming around in ball soup wondering why that bitch sitting next to you looks as carefree as a summer's day. Because different rules apply to her. Yeah, it's a bit sexist.
So you're just okay with it being sexist as fuck then, yeah? Careful, your egalitarianism is showing again.
A middle school in California held a mandatory assembly for girls only and pulled them out of class to tell them they can't wear yoga pants or leggings. Distracting.
We had a similar situation in my school, but directed at boys for the footwear they were choosing. You see, Lacey, uniform codes means a set of clothes that you have to wear. And if you're not wearing that, then that's an issue for the school.
Yes. Obviously she knows it's an issue for the school. When did she even hint that that might not be the case, you disingenuous little prick? What she is saying is that schools are enforcing sexist dress codes, which is a bad thing, which is a point that you would agree with really quite easily if you're an actual egalitarian, which you're not. You're an egalitarian.
According to hundreds of schools in the US, it's boys and perhaps even male faculty. That's uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, in high school you're developing and you suddenly notice some girls with the legs that go all the way up. That's going to be a bit distracting. And I'll take it, as you said, perhaps even male faculty, that there's no evidence to support this assumption. You're talking out of your arse to give males a bad name. Shocking behaviour for a feminist.
Couple of points for you, S-Bomb. Firstly, yes, obviously teenagers get horny, but that should not fuck up the education of young girls just because young boys can't handle their fucking shit. And secondly, why do you raise a doubt over the some male faculty claim? There are loads of extant, legally proven cases where male members of faculty have fucked female students. And yes, female members of faculty that have fucked male students as well. But no one's contesting the second of those. You seem to be contesting the first. And it just blows my fucking mind that you would call her a liar for that, when it's so obvious that it's either you that's lying, or you that's a fucking ignorant piece of shit, and should really shut the fuck up about this, because you clearly don't know the first fucking thing about it.
Number 1, it tells girls, many of whom are children, that their bodies are inherently sexual. It tells her she's not entitled to human decency and respect if her skin is showing, which is slut-shaming, but it's also objectifying. It tells girls that their bodies are more sexual than boys. She's the object, he is the subject. Girls come to see their bodies through the lens of uncontrollable male desire instead of her own wants and her own needs. This is a process called self-objectification, and it has been linked quadrillions of times by the APA to depression, mental health issues, and eating disorders.
Well, you just went full Anita Sarkeesian on this shit, didn't you?
See, these fucking idiots, right, they like to go on about how the feminists shut down discussion with ridicule and name calling and blah 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 blah. But this is exactly what you're doing here. All you've got to do to convince these people that the hated enemy, in this case Lacey Green, but it could be fucking anyone basically, right? All you've got to do is compare that person to Anita Sarkeesian, and that instantly shuts down any discussion that's taking place, because you've then basically made that person into the devil. But not just that, but it shows what ludicrous simpletons these fucking idiots are as well, because all you've got to do is compare someone to Anita Sarkeesian, and that instantly invalidates everything that other person has to say or has ever done. Because as we all know, in the minds of these dickheads, Anita Sarkeesian is like the devil or something. They've made this straw devil out of her, and so to compare X person to Anita Sarkeesian is all you need to do. It would also seem it's a rather lucrative tactic too.
Instead of teaching boys that they're responsible for their own actions, it teaches them that girls are responsible for them. This is an extraordinarily dangerous lesson that we teach boys. It's part of how we set the stage for harassment, sexual assault, and victim blaming.
Yeah, because we all know that every male is going to be a rapist unless we teach them rape is bad.
No, that's not what she said, and that's clearly not what she fucking meant either. But thank you for the obligatory straw man. Always good to get another one of those under your belt, eh? The point is, if we teach young boys that they are to be held responsible for their sexual impulses and their sexual actions, and furthermore to that certain forms of behaviour will not be fucking tolerated, then the vast majority of them are far more likely to grow up and respect sexual boundaries as they develop sexually and mature into men. Which is something that you would agree with and have absolutely no fucking problem with if you were an actual egalitarian, which you're not. You're an egalitarian. But anyway, let's move on, because it would be remiss of me not to touch on the fact that he's not just a sexist prick, he's also a racist prick.
Every 28 hours in this country, a black person is murdered.
Well, it's only murder if they're unjustly killed. And that is an extremely strangled way of wording it. Sounds to me like you're pushing an agenda. It would be a shame if a YouTuber came along and debunked it.
By security officers, police officers, or vigilantes.
Let me reword this for you. Every 28 hours, a criminal who happens to be black is killed while fleeing from the law or resisting arrest. And even so, one police shooting every 28 hours, it seems a lot when you say it like that, but let me do the maths for you. One every 28 hours is approximately 313 a year out of a population of nearly 320 million. Just to put it in perspective.
Firstly, you have absolutely no way of knowing how many of those killings were justified, or indeed if any of them were justified. And you don't even fucking set out what you think justified actually means. But what's more telling than just those two particular problems, which basically invalidate any point you're about to go on and fucking make, because you're starting from a completely false premise, but what's more telling than that is that you have assumed that they are all justified, which is your racist confirmation bias coming through. Your mask slipped a little bit there. And secondly, it's a lot easier to rationalise those numbers and try and explain them away, and basically act as if they don't really matter, as if any number of people being killed by the police is fine, apparently, let alone the huge numbers that are getting killed in America, right? But it's a lot easier to rationalise those away when you're not going to be the victim of it. You are white and British, so not unlike myself in that regard. So your chances of being killed by a police officer are virtually zero. So it's very easy to dismiss the problem completely. It's a little thing we like to call white privilege. But just for a moment, right, I want you to imagine that it was your father or your brother or your son or your mother or your sister or whatever, right, that was being killed by a police officer. And I know that would take empathy, and I know you fucking right-wing dipshits aren't really capable of that, but please try. Whatever amount of mental energy you can possibly muster, try this for me, right? Try and put yourself in a situation where it's someone that you love dearly getting killed by the police, and then try and fucking rationalise it, then try and explain it away. And then you might just have some idea why black people are a little bit fucking pissed off with the situation. Because it's shit they have to deal with all the fucking time. Not necessarily every day someone they know gets killed, but they have that threat hanging over them all the fucking time.
Everybody's seen the hashtag at this point. They've seen the slogans and the protests. What is Black Lives Matter and how did it come about?
Black Lives Matter is a project that's designed to celebrate the humanity, the brilliance, and resilience of black people in a world that devalues black life.
That's absolute cobblers. How the fuck does the world devalue black life? Do white people get reduced sentences for killing black people?
Yes, actually, they do. Pretty fucking often, it would seem. In fact, white police officers tend to get a 100% sentence reduction when killing black folk.
And we need folks who have been in the movement for a long time to really be supporting their capacity to win.
Do you think that Al Sharpton should actually step aside, not be in front of the camera, and maybe put forward a younger face?
It's a different moment today, and so the needs are different, the conditions are different.
Yeah, get out of here, Grandad, with your equality for all ideas. Yeah, me and my homies want to burn this town to the ground and beat up whiteys for what history books said they did to us once upon a time. You know what would be an interesting solution to this problem? Offer all Black Lives Matter activists a free plane ticket to Africa, specifically the part of Africa where their ancestors were taken from. We brought you here, so we're giving you the option to go back.
Repatriation? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, you really don't mind sounding like a neo-Nazi prick, do you? But anyway, let's wrap this shit up, because I am so unbelievably done with this fucking arsehole at this point. I really am. The Satiratician. As I said in the intro, he is not only everything that's wrong with the people that call themselves the egalitarians but are actually egalitarians, as we've seen from basically everything he said. He doesn't give two fucks about equality. He stands for straight white men. That's all he stands for. That's all he gives a fuck about. But he's basically just a boilerplate carbon copy of every other YouTube anti-feminist. He's just like an amalgamation of the boring shit bits of them, which is most of them, to be fair, but that's all he does. It's just bland, boring shit. And it speaks volumes to how utterly fucking vapid and unoriginal these people are. But anyway, I'm now done with him, and unless something particularly amazing happens in the future, I shan't be returning to this one, because he's just really fucking boring. So basically, yeah, the Satiratician. Go fuck yourself.
She was grand, fell in love, and that first hand went well for a week or two, then it all came unglued in a trap, trip I can't grip. I never thought I'd be the one who slid. Then I started to realize I was living one big lie. She fucking hates me. Trust, she fucking hates me. La la love, I tried too hard and she tore my feelings like a head nut and ripped them away. She was queen for about an hour. After that, shit got sour. She took all I ever had. No sign of guilt, no feeling of bad. In a trap, tripped I can't grip. Never thought I'd be the one who slid. Then I started to realize I was living one big lie. She fucking hates me. Trust, she fucking hates me. La la love, I tried too hard and she tore my feelings like a head nut and ripped them away. That's my story. As you see, I love